Salams and welcome. Thank you for joining me in part number 140 in this book, Muhammad Sal'lal'laa'hu A'layhi Was'sal'lam, his life based on the earliest sources. And we are busy with chapter number 45, that what is now going to happen to the captives who were taken prisoner. 70 of the prisoners were taken now into Medina, and let's see what is going to happen to them. So the captives arrived in Medina with their guards a day after the arrival of the Prophet Muhammad Sal'lal'laa'hu A'layhi Was'sallam into Medina. Sauda, who had gone once more to visit Afra, was astonished on her return to see her cousin and brother-in-law Suhail, the chief of her clan. To say this main person, this one who was so honorable and dignified, is now tied up, his hands are tied to his neck. So the chief of her clan, sitting in the corner of the room with his hands tied to his neck like this in a very shameful way as a prisoner. The sight aroused long-forgotten sentiments and made her forget for the moment all that had replaced them. And she said, "Oh, Abu Yazid, all too readily did you surrender. You gave up so quickly, you couldn't even put up a decent fight. You should have died a noble death instead of allowing yourself to be brought in this shameful way as a prisoner." And Prophet ﷺ said, "Sauda," whose presence she did not know the Prophet ﷺ was there. The reproof in his voice immediately brought her back from her pre-Islamic past to her Islamic present. There were still hopes that Suhail would enter Islam, and surely the impact of the now flourishing and already powerful theocracy could not fail to impress him and the other captives. But the Prophet ﷺ relied on his followers to put Islamic ideas and not pagan ideas into the captives that were there with them. Again he turned to the now repentant Sauda. "Would you foment trouble against God and his messenger?" The eminence of Suhail, like that of Abu Sufyan, so this is a very senior chief of the Quraysh. The eminence of Suhail had been greatly enhanced by the deaths of so many of the leaders. His influence could have been expected to bring many waverers into Islam from his own clan and also from other clans. But his stay in Medina was cut short, so there's no time to even introduce him properly to Islam. For the Bani Amir quickly sent one of the clan to ransom him, and the man consented to remain as hostage while his chief went back to Mecca to arrange the payment of the sum that was agreed upon for his ransom. Each of the captives had been shared between 3 or more of the combatants, and the group of helpers, remember the helpers are known as the Ansar, who owned Abbas. So one of them, some of the Ansar, they owned the uncle of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Abbas, right? Now brought him to the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and they said, "O Messenger of God, Ya Rasulullah, allow us to forego the ransom due to us for our sister's son." By sister, they meant the captive's grandmother, Salma. But the Prophet ﷺ said, "You shall not remit a single dirham." Then he turned to his uncle Abbas, and the Prophet ﷺ said to him, "Ransom yourself." Abbas and the 2 nephews Aqil and Nawfal, and ransom your ally Utbah, for you are a rich person. So Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, you are a rich person, so ransom yourself and ransom some of your relatives as well. But Abbas started protesting and started complaining. He said, "I was already a Muslim, but the people made me march out with them." Right? The Prophet ﷺ told him, "As to your Islam, Allah knows best." Right? We are not to judge. We say that Allah knows. That's between you and Allah. If what you say is true, He will reward you. But outwardly, you have been against us. So outwardly, you say you came to fight against us, so now you need to pay the ransom. Abbas radiallahu anhu replied that he had no money, but the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Where then is the money that you left with al-Fadl?" Now look how Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam knows the stories which are secrets. And many of these people used to get a shock of their life, and that's how they became Muslims. Because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam knew so much knowledge, subhanAllah. So let me read again. So Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because Abbas says he's got no money. So Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is telling him, "Where then is the money that you left with al-Fadl? You two were alone when you told her, 'If I should be slain, so much is for Fadl, so much for Abdullah, so much for Kitam, and so much for Ubaidullah.' You are basically making a will. You are telling me this money goes here, this money goes here." And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam knew all. This guy got a shock of his life, right? It was then only that faith truly entered the heart of Abbas radiallahu anh. Then he said, oh my word, no one knew of that. Nobody knew of that. So this is indeed, without a shadow of the doubt, the true messenger of the Creator Supreme. So Abbas radiallahu anhu then said, by him who sent you with the truth, no one knew of this but me and my wife. Nobody else knew about this. Right? So I'm amazed that you know about it and you're telling me in absolute detail. So now I know that you are the messenger of God. And he agreed to ransom his two nephews and his confederate as well as himself with the money that he certainly did have. So one of the prisoners who was quartered with the Prophet Sal'lal'laa'hu Was'sal'lam was his son-in-law Abu al-As. This is the son, imagine he is the son-in-law of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He is married to the daughter of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, who is Zainab. Now it is his turn to come to be ransomed. So now they want to find out, so they brought him to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And meanwhile, Zainab, the daughter of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, she did not have any money to ransom her husband. So she sent some jewelry to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, say, Ya Nabi, take this jewelry, and in that return my husband to me. And when they gave Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam the necklace, they were just quiet in that room. That whole room became quiet. You know why? Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam started crying. His tears started flowing. Because whose necklace was it? It was the necklace of his beloved wife Khadija radiallahu anha. So the necklace of Khadija, which Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam knew that this is that unique and beautiful necklace of my dear wife Khadija, the one that he loved, the one that stood by him through all this difficulty and this trauma, the one that could not be with him today to see his victory of Badr. And yet that necklace eventually went to her daughter Zainab. And Zainab, that was the only thing of value that she had. Such sentimental value, she would never have given away her mother's necklace. But now it was sitting in the hands of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. It's difficult to even relate the story and to try to understand what Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam went through, the emotions that this man that we all love, what he went through. And the Sahaba, they looked at Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and they knew immediately, let's give him his freedom. So they set Abu al-As free and they returned the necklace to Zainab, right? But Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam gave a condition to, but I'm not too sure, but I will read that now, gave a condition to his son-in-law. He said, do me a favor, I'm letting you go free with your necklace, give it back to my daughter in Makkah, but the condition is you send her to me here in Medina. And he agreed, right? So he agreed. So let's see. So one of the prisoners who was quartered with the Prophet ﷺ was his son-in-law Abu al-As, whose brother Amr came from Mecca with a sum of money sent by Zainab to ransom him. And with the money she sent a necklace of onyx, which her mother Khadija radiallahu anha had given her on her wedding day. When the Prophet ﷺ saw the necklace, he turned pale. He was visibly shaken, recognizing at once as Khadija's. Deeply moved, he said to those who had a share in the prisoner, he told the people, if you should see fit to release her husband and return the necklace, it is up to you to do that. But just implying that I would be happy if you can do that. They immediately agreed, and both the money and the necklace were returned together with the prisoner himself, Abu al-As, the husband of Zainab. It had been hoped that he would enter Islam while he was in Medina, but he did not. And when he left for Mecca, the Prophet ﷺ told him that on his return he should send Zainab to Medina. And this he sadly promised to do, because they were really in love with each other. The revelation had made it clear that a Muslim woman could not be the wife of a pagan man. So that takes care of this sad story, very emotional story. And we can just imagine the emotions that Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam went to. He really, deeply loved Khadija radiallahu anha, and he would never forget her for the rest of his life, subhanAllah. And we remember our dear mother Khadija radiallahu anha. We don't forget them. We remember Khadija, Aisha, Fatima, all our honorable people, our mothers. We remember Abu Bakr Siddiq, Umar bin al-Khattab, Uthman, Ali, Bilal, Salman al-Farsi, Abu Dhar al-Ghifari, Abu Darda, Abdurrahman bin Auf, Abdullah bin Masud, Anas bin Malik, Musayb ibn Umair, an absolutely amazing confederate of people and a camaraderie of the people who were so deeply loyal in the faith and who deeply loved Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Stay well, look after yourself. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.